Hey everybody, my name is Steph Corbell. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first video I've ever made, so thank you so much for watching. Today, what I want to talk about is what do you do in a time of crisis? What do you do when your whole world turns upside down in like a minute? You wake up one day, your life is one way, right? And then you go to bed the next night, and all your plans for the rest of your life have completely changed because of some cataclysmic event. So just a little bit about me and the background on this channel and why I'm doing this, okay? So about a year ago, I decided that I was gonna start a YouTube channel to address topics about adulting, okay? And I've been seeing this trend for a long time on social media, hashtag adulting, people doing things that are adult tasks that they really hate doing or they have a hard time figuring out how to do it. And in my line of work, I run across a lot of young people, age about 18 to 25. I'm a tattoo artist. I own a tattoo shop. And I'm kind of like everybody's unofficial therapist and tattoo mommy. So I get asked a lot of questions from younger folks about needing advice about like just basic life skills 101. And, you know, there's a lot of people in older generations that are bagging on people in Generation Z because they don't know how to do certain things, but a lot of those things aren't taught in college. And I can say that with a high degree of certainty because not only am I a tattoo artist, I also taught college for more than 18 years. I taught college at, you know, the university level through the University of California. I've taught at little Ivy League schools, tiny little liberal arts schools, and I've also taught in vocational education and community colleges. So yeah, I can say definitively colleges generally don't teach life skills for people. I really saw a need for that. I'm qualified to teach people a lot of these adulting skills, and especially people that are working more than one job or like gig workers, because not only have I done all these things, tattooing, teaching, I've also been a working artist and musician since the age of 17. I'm 42. That's 25 years of hustling and having to be self-employed and deal with all this craziness. So in terms of adulting, I got you covered, okay? But back to the topic for today. What do you do in the case where your entire life changes in an instant and the world that you knew just turned completely upside down? Okay, the best advice I have to give for any of you comes from actually commercial aviation. One thing you should know about me, I'm a pilot too, on top of all this crazy stuff. And this image always comes to mind in terms of crisis. You want to put your own oxygen mask on first before you do anything else. Okay, so why do flight attendants tell you on a flight, in the case of crisis, why do you put your own oxygen mask on first before helping, say, like a little kid that's sitting next to you? It seems kind of mean, right? Well, there's actually a good reason for this. If you're flying along at 35,000 feet, and all of a sudden we lose access to oxygen, you only have precious seconds until you basically pass out and die, okay? So a little kid sitting next to you may not have the cognitive ability yet to understand the directions, and and in a case of panic, they're really not gonna know what to do. So if you neglect to put that oxygen mask on first, and you're trying to help the little kid's flailing around like crazy, you're flailing around like crazy, and guess what? You both die. Okay. Whereas the oxygen mask drops down, you put it on you, then you help the little kid, and you both have a chance of living. So that is what you do in times of disaster. Okay. You take care of yourself first before you start looking out at everybody else and trying to take care of them. I know sometimes when things suck, it's easier to look around and try to focus on other people's problems and fix those problems first, because looking at your own is really, really, really hard. And most of us, let's face it, we're masters of procrastination. We don't want to look deep within and look at the things that we need to fix about ourselves first. But I'm telling you, in a time of crisis like we're facing right now with a pandemic, the most important thing you can do to start out, take care of you first. Okay, as a pilot and a ridiculously organized person, I love checklists. So I made one for you here in terms of what are some steps that you can follow that are the equivalent of putting on your oxygen mask first in case of disaster. Okay, so step one, get yourself to a place of safety before you make any other decisions or do anything else. That place of safety can be a physical place of safety, meaning instead of going on vacation or going to spring break in Miami on the beach, you immediately go home. Go to your safe home. That home may be an apartment by yourself. It may be with a significant other. It may be with family. But wherever you feel the safest, that's where you should go. Okay? The other place of safety that you need to find, your safe space, is psychological. It deals with your support system. So gathering the people that are closest to you that can help you in times of crisis. Okay, that can be close friends, it can be family members, it can be, I don't know, in my case, it's financial planner because I'm an adult. It can be all these trusted confidants or even a therapist, somebody that you pay that provides a professional service to you that helps you with your mental health in times of stress. So step one, go to your safe space and get your support system in order before you make any decisions or do anything else. Step two, take care of your immediate physical needs, okay? I know we've all got friends, we've all got family, and we've all got people we're trying to look after. But in the case of crisis, make sure you have exactly what you need to start out, okay? And what I mean by what you need, it's pretty simple. It doesn't necessarily involve Netflix and chill and, you know, like your favorite pajamas or something like that. This involves having some money, having some food in the house, and shelter. You know, I mean, that's basically all you really need to get by for a while, okay? An example of this, you know, I've been hearing from friends and they're like, oh, so-and-so or my mom or my sister, they need some extra money right now to get by, but I just lost my job and I don't know what to do. Okay, my advice to them is take care of yourself first, okay? If you don't take care of yourself first, if you spend that last $10 on somebody else who needs help, well, guess what? Then you become somebody else who needs help. So if you help someone else to the detriment of yourself, then you actually become a liability. You become a burden to someone else. So step up, take care of yourself, make sure your immediate physical needs are met before you go out and start trying to help everybody else. Step three, establish healthy boundaries. What do I mean by boundaries? Okay. Boundaries simply mean they can be either psychological or they can be physical, and all they are limits that separate everybody else's crap from our crap and keep them separate so that they don't become some giant collective pile of crap that exponentially explodes and we all have to deal with. In adulting language, learning how to set really healthy boundaries, it's like one of the highest goals that you can establish for yourself. And your whole life is going to go a hell of a lot more smoothly if you know how to establish and set and maintain boundaries with other people. In the case of a crisis, some boundaries I, really advocate setting are with people that, okay, so my best friend and I, we have this conversation all the time. We all have that one friend that the second they see us, instead of asking us how we're doing, they do what we call the swoop and poop, meaning they just swoop down. The second they see you, they tell you everything horrible that's going wrong in their life, everybody that's doing something terrible to them, how awful the world is, blah, 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 blah. And then if you're lucky, they might be like, hey, Steph, how's it going with you? And meanwhile, you're like, avoid those types of conversations in the situations in which you're trying to take care of yourself first, okay? So this just means avoiding toxic people and toxic, trains of conversation that are going to go nowhere good fast. And in times of crisis, especially collective crisis, people like to commiserate about everything that's going wrong. But, it's good to share experiences, of course, and to know that you're not alone. But it's also not productive to stay stuck in that space for a really long time, because hysteria and sadness and all those kinds of emotions, they could really cascade. They're contagious, just like a disease is. So you might want to set some boundaries that say, hey, I'm only going to talk about this kind of thing for so long, and then I've got to go take care of myself again. Boundaries also can be online boundaries. They can be virtual boundaries. And I've seen it over and over again in times of crisis, in times of elections, in times of major world events. People go insane on social media and just completely overpost. Okay. So one secret about social media, psychologically speaking, okay, people aren't putting stuff out there for your benefit, just so you know. People are out there expressing themselves because they want to be heard, okay? So anything you see on social media, typically it's not about you, it's about the person writing it, okay? And you're gonna have friends on Snapchat, you're gonna have friends on Facebook, you're gonna have friends on Instagram, you're gonna have friends on Twitter that are going on and on and on and on and on and on all day, every single day, about every possible thing that is going wrong and every tragic thing that's going wrong, okay? You have a right to filter that out and to not pay attention to it for a while, okay? And it doesn't mean that you don't care about that person. It's just, you gotta understand they're super stressed out and they're just trying to get those emotions out themselves, okay? It's okay to on Facebook, unsubscribe from people's posts, unfollow people, and I'm not going to tell them, I won't blow your cover. You still look like your friends, but you're not following them anymore because they're kind of nuts right now. Yeah. And you may not want to do that yourself to other people because it's kind of tiresome. Also, online boundaries, you might want to think about how much news you take in, okay? I am not somebody who advocates going and living in a bunker and, farming all your own food and having tons of chickens. Well, actually, that sounds kind of good. But I don't mean living in a bunker away from the rest of the world and not paying attention to anything else that is in the rest of the world, because F the rest of the world, I've got everything I need in my bunker with my chickens and my fresh grown food. Anyways, I think it's important and socially responsible as an adult to know what's going on in the world, okay? But that does not mean that you have to follow the news cycle 24/7. You have to remember that most major news outlets are being run by corporations that are looking for the most engaging stories, and the most engaging stories tend to be the most tragic, okay? I am not in denial at all that all kinds of crazy stuff is going on in the world right now, and a lot of tragic stuff is going on in the world right now, and we all need information on that. But by all means, one, get your information from a reputable source, not from Facebook or Instagram, okay? Get it from an official government source or a scientific based source, okay? And two, you don't have to read 20,000 articles about the exact same topic, okay? Once you have the reputable information, read it for 5 to 10 minutes, or however long it takes to digest it, and then, okay, that sucked, and you put it away. There's nothing else you can do other than set a boundary, acknowledge, yep, it exists, it sucks, this is what I need to do to be responsible, and move on with your day. All right, step 4 of my checklist. This is the final one. Learn to control the things you can. I hate to tell you this, but there's a lot of things in life you can't control. In fact, most things in life you can't control. You can't control the weather. You can't control whether or not there's going to be a natural disaster. You can't control whether or not there's going to be a pandemic. You cannot control what people think of you. You cannot control how people talk about you or treat you. All you can control are your actions in this particular present moment. And in times of crisis, it's really easy to do something that I call future tripping. You look ahead at all the possible variables that could happen, and you want to have a disaster plan for every single one, but those may or may not come to pass because you can't control those variables. So what are you going to do? Okay, control the things you can in any one given circumstance. And in a time of global crisis that we're facing right now, the one thing that you can control day to day are kind of like your basic daily actions that help keep you healthy. Okay, healthy habits. Okay, this is going to be like so not popular right now because I'm seeing all these posts on Facebook from some friends of mine about like, it's wine o'clock and wine is therapy and blah, 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 which I totally get it. I totally get it to an extent, but healthy habits, they're not sexy and they're not necessarily fun and they're pretty common sense. Okay, so healthy habits are the equivalent of putting your oxygen mask on. Okay, healthy habits are sleeping, 8 hours of sleep a night if you can get it. And I know everybody's really stressed out and scared, but just go lay down and frickin' rest. Turn your TV off, turn your phone off. Don't even keep your phone in your room. Just turn it off and have 8 hours of uninterrupted, no distractions, rest. Just lay down, rest. Another thing that you can do is you can control what you put into your body in terms of food, okay? You can choose fresh ingredients over something that comes out of a bag or a box that you know is not good for you. Like, I don't think it's terribly difficult to understand that you can't subsist on Cheetos alone. As much as I would love to subsist on Cheetos alone, that's not what's going to get me through a health crisis. And, there's this old analogy back from when I was a recording engineer. We called it garbage in, garbage out, meaning if you did a bad take, the mix is always going to suck too. It's the same thing with food. If all you do is feed yourself with garbage, then you're probably going to feel like crap. Okay? Buy the healthiest, most unprocessed food options that you can afford at this particular moment in time to boost your immune system and to make you feel better. Again, not sexy, probably doesn't taste as good as Cheetos. Sorry, I know that sucks. I like Cheetos. Okay, another healthy habit, go get some freaking exercise. Go outside, go for a walk. We're still allowed to go outside and go for walks just as long as we avoid other people, right? You don't have to be a gym rat. You don't have to look ripped. You don't have to have six-pack abs. You don't have to have weights and dumbbells and all kinds of crazy stuff. Just put on a comfortable pair of shoes and go out and walk for 20 to 30 minutes a day. Get some sunlight. Vitamin D is good for you. It's good for stress. It's good for the brain. It's good just to breathe fresh air and see some nature. Look at the clouds, anything. That's totally going to help you, your health, your immune system, and your stress levels. Go outside. Okay, the last healthy habit, and this one's going to be like totally not popular. Avoid obvious vices that make you feel like crap in the morning. If you know that drinking an entire bottle of vodka is going to make you feel like hell when you wake up in the morning, then don't do it, okay? It's just a quick fix. It's just like self-medication to try to avoid stress. And I get the impulse to want to do that, but the benefits, the payout, is it really, really worth it? You really want somebody holding your hair back while, I don't have any hair, but proverbially speaking, do you really want somebody holding your hair back while you're trying to potentially fight off a disease? I don't know. Common sense. You want to survive a crisis? Don't do things that are going to make you feel like crap. All right, so to close out this video, you're going to see a lot of this in future videos from me. Adulting is a lot about accepting uncomfortable truths, the uncomfortable truths of adulthood. And one of the biggest uncomfortable truths about adulthood is sometimes things just suck, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, seriously, this is one of those times. If you fight it, if you don't accept it, you're just going to make your own situation so much worse for yourself. You just have to roll with it and manage what you can in the instance. Above all else, when things just suck and you don't know what's going to happen next, control the things you can. Take care of you first and foremost, and by all means, put your oxygen mask on first. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this provided you with some good advice. And if you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be coming at you with a lot more material in coming weeks about adulting and what's currently happening around the world. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I'm Steph Corbell. Thanks. I'm not very good at this.